Ladies, in this episode, I'm going to be reacting to 90 Day Fiancé Season 6, specifically following Amanda's story, who is widowed. She's recently lost her husband. I'm not really sure how recent, but she's in the midst of her grief, found someone on social media, and basically is in a relationship with this person. And the whole episode is basically her bit is basically her meeting him for the first time in person. So this scene that we're going to be looking at right now is the before the meeting scene. Okay, so let's get into it and get her thoughts on it.
He was like, it's not fair for you to live your life alone. Also, like, the kids need someone in their lives. And it wasn't fair, like, to him if I just lived my life, not finding love again. And of course, I didn't expect to.
So here she's basically just talking about her late husband and his wishes for her to move forward with her life, which I think is very intimate and a very beautiful gesture from him. But one of the things that I picked up in the scene is the fact that her voice is so shaky, and throughout the episode, anytime she mentions her husband, she is basically on the verge of breaking down, which for me is a huge sign that she is not ready to move forward. She is still very deep in her grief, and that's one of the things for me that really stood out as something that she probably should be focusing on and addressing instead of looking for love at this point.
After Jason passed away, I tried to keep occupied and busy, so I definitely watched a lot of social media videos. It was just an escape from everything going on in the real world.
So here she is basically admitting that she used social media to escape from her grief, from her reality of having lost her husband. And while I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, I think a lot of people turn to a lot of coping mechanisms when things go wrong, especially the loss of a loved one, a husband no less. But I think this is one of the things that probably she should have thought about a little bit longer, especially as the story progresses and she meets someone, because honestly, social media is definitely there for entertainment, but if you're going through real life stuff, I don't think it's a very good tool to turn to, because it can really warp your sense of reality.
One night, my friend was doing a live stream challenge on TikTok. My friend kept winning, and the guy who lost was being so silly, and I was like, oh, he's cute. On TikTok, you can pay to send people gifts, so I sent him a rose, which is worth like less than $1.
Okay, so what's really interesting over here is how she sees somebody that she finds physically attractive, which there's nothing wrong with that. But she not only thinks to herself, oh, okay, he's cute and he's silly and whatever, but she actually acts on it. And if you are not new to my channel, if you've been subscribed for a while, you know that I heavily advocate against ladies making the first move, just because you don't want to have a relationship dynamic where you are chasing any kind of guy. But even beyond that, I think for her, I really don't know what her thought process was at that point, because if you are grieving but you're also reaching out to somebody that you think is cute, that kind of feels a little bit offish for me personally. And then on top of that, she sent him a gift, a rose, on TikTok, and she justifies that by saying it was less than $1. And that's not really the point, for me anyway. The point is that you are really going out on a limb for a man that you don't know and kind of doing a bit too much, whereas you could really just be watching and even appreciating, his looks and his personality without having to do anything about it. I think she kind of can feel that she's doing a bit too much. That's why she's feeling the need to justify that, oh, it didn't even cost even $1. But the gesture itself speaks volumes.
Later in that day, he sent me a private message. Over the next couple days, we messaged back and forth. And before I knew it, we were talking on the phone every day and night. And I was just completely opening up to him.
Ladies, this is a classic textbook move, okay? This guy's an online influencer or whatever, and he knows how to play the game on social media. And obviously, if someone gifts you something, you are probably going to connect with them because that person is likely to become a fan or, a follower or whatever of your content. So I would read his actions as just a classical social media textbook move, and I think she really interpreted it as something very personal, and he played along to a point where she felt comfortable enough to start opening up about, what she was going through, her whole personal life, and bearing in mind that this guy is a perfect stranger.
And then I think I sent him a photo or something of me, and he was like, I want you to be only mine. And so it kind of just went from there. Rosman is 26 years old. He lives in Bucharest, Romania. He is a model, singer, and social media entertainer.
Once again, classic textbook move. Claiming her, saying, I want you to be all mine. And you can see how easily that got her. She still blushes just talking about it. And, he may not necessarily be a bad guy, but ladies, think about it. If you meet somebody or you interact with somebody on social media, you have no idea who this person is, and it's very easy for a man to read a woman who is basically throwing herself at him, and by throwing herself at him, I mean, she's sending him photos, she's sending him gifts, she's reaching out first, she's opening up about her personal life. It's just a bit too much.
Hi, Amanda.
Yes, Mom, I will sleep soon. Sorry.
I told Rosman really early on that I was a widow.
Ladies, if you are on my channel, please, please, please do not make these basic mistakes that this lady is making. I can tell that she is probably a little bit naive, and just a little too innocent. She just believes the best in everybody, and there's nothing wrong with believing in people and all of that kind of stuff, but you also have to be realistic and aware of the fact that not everybody that you meet is who they say they are, and not everybody that you meet is going to have your best intentions at heart. You don't want to show your vulnerability and your pain to a stranger online from the get-go. Her saying she was very open very early about being a widow, that might seem like her being honest and upfront and all of that, which is great. But once again, if you are meeting somebody online who is predatory, you have just armed them with a lot of ammunition that they can use against you down the line, to either get what they want, to emotionally manipulate you, to hurt you, and all of that stuff. And honestly, for somebody that is still going through all of the grief that she's going through, she really does not need extra drama coming from a stranger who now knows her vulnerable spots and her situation. She's not only exposing herself, but she's also exposing her children, because we all know there are people online who will target single mothers.
And he truly has been someone that I can lean on, and he has talked me through some of my worst days.
Yeah.
He makes me laugh all the time. He's silly and he's kind of like a little bit dorky.
Look how beautiful. That's amazing. I'm the pancake guy.
He is super sweet, and he's just one of those people that will do anything for someone that he loves.
Okay, I'm going to play the devil's advocate and say she is really stretching it by saying he'll do anything for someone that he loves, because what has he done for her besides, be a listening ear and, offer emotional support? Like, has he actually done something to make her life better and easier? I feel like what she's getting from him, she could be getting from a girlfriend, a sister, a therapist. Sometimes ladies just kind of say all of these ideal things and phrases and statements without any real basis to say them.
We've been together for 4 months. Every morning when I wake up, he'll have like messages waiting for me.
Babe, why you don't answer me? I'm joking, I know you're sleeping. I just want to say that I love you so much and call me when you wake up. Bye.
Okay, so obviously this guy is very charming. He knows how to balance out his looks with some quirkiness, which makes him more appealing, because he seems more, real and human and flawed, you know what I mean? Like, he's not perfect, and so it's easy for a simple girl to feel like, okay, he's the real deal. And for me, honestly, that's kind of why I always say ladies need to learn game from men, because men have the best game, in my opinion. Okay, ladies, if a man is texting you good morning and good night every day, that does not mean you're in a relationship. He could be doing that, and men do this with multiple women. Men have broadcasts on their phone where they are sending out the same message to multiple women on a daily basis, and every single one of these women thinks it's just her. Now, I'm not saying this guy is doing that, but I am saying he could be. And I'm saying, when you are a grown woman, you have children, you have responsibilities. Even if you don't have children, you really have to get to a point where your logic has to step in when you are dating, because as women, we get really emotionally entangled in relationships, and you want to make sure that you've done your due diligence before handing your heart over to somebody.
I do feel some guilt being with Rosvin so soon after my husband's death. I know that he could never replace Jason, but we started to form this really deep connection. So in a few days, I am traveling to Romania to meet Rosden in person for the first time.
So once again, she is doing all the heavy lifting and leaving her family, leaving her children to go and meet a perfect stranger in his territory, in his country, instead of him saying, you know what, I'm going to do the traveling, I'm going to leave my comfort zone and step into your world and present myself as, you know, A, B, and C. She's going out on a limb for him. It may seem like a small thing, ladies, especially in the beginning of a relationship, but if you want a relationship with a man that is going to value you, you have to set up that dynamic from the beginning. And the way to set it up is to allow him to do his best to reach you, not the other way around.
It's really a tricky thing to navigate. How do you move on? And it's not just myself, I have to think about my kids. I don't want my kids to think like I'm with someone else, you know, and that I don't love their dad anymore. Because I do. I mean, I never thought that I would meet someone so quickly. It's like we just kind of got caught up in this whirlwind of like emotions. And we're like, I love you so much. And never even meet them in person. And to say these things is crazy. But I just feel in my heart that we are meant to be and it will work itself out.
Ladies, I made a post about this on TikTok. If you aren't following me there already, make sure you follow me. I'll add the link in the description. But I have to say, you absolutely cannot afford to just let things happen by fate, okay? We are grown enough to know that you basically have to take responsibility for your life, and that includes your dating life. And if the stakes are as high as having children and all of that kind of stuff, you really cannot gamble with stuff like that. Her saying, you know, it's just a whirlwind of emotions and we're saying I love you and it's crazy because we never met, but I know it's going to work itself out. She is basically going against her own logic. Her logical mind is telling her this doesn't make sense, and she's overriding that because she is so desperate to feel loved again. And you know, whatever it is that she felt with her husband, she's kind of wanting to replace it, but she's also feeling guilty because she feels like it's too soon. And you know what, if you feel like it's too soon to move on, honor that, honor your own emotions, because if this man is not the right fit for her, and you know, not necessarily malicious about it, but just not the right one, it's going to tear her apart, versus if she was dating from a healthy place and he wasn't the right one for her, it would be easier for her to move on. Don't set yourself up for failure, ladies, not like this. So ladies, I'm gonna end the video over here. Let me know your thoughts below. Do you think she is moving on a bit too quickly ahead of her own emotions and her own grief? Or do you think I'm just being a bit too harsh? People should be allowed to find love wherever and whenever and however they find it. Are you watching 90 Day Fiancé? Have you seen this? What are your thoughts, and what is your favorite couple from the series? And I will see you ladies in the next one. Bye.